In this video, I'm going to review all the civilizations in Civ 4 and look at their unique units and unique buildings. If you're looking for a specific country, check out the description for links. Remember that you can do things to support my channel and get more content. The Persian. Okay. Same cost. The Immortal. The Immortal gets 50% versus archery units. This is pretty huge as well. This is similar to the Quechua. The Quechua are better because you don't have to rely on having horses and you don't have to research anything to get them. However, this is still a really good unit because it's cheap. You can get it really early if you just get animal husbandry and horses and the wheel, and then it has a fast movement cost, or it has fast movement early in the game, so you can try and rush people very quickly before they get spearmen. Once they have spearmen, just stop. Don't. If you can make peace with them, make peace with them. There's no point fighting someone with spearmen when you just have this. But this gives you the opportunity to take down cities with archers. And that gives you the ability to rush. So I think that this is better than Egypt with its war chariot. Because this brings the strength up to 6. The war chariot would be slightly better against warriors, but a strength of 4 versus a strength of 2 warrior is already going to be good enough against a warrior. So, yeah, I think that this is good for trying to do a rush. Apothecary replaces the grocer, and all it gives is an additional +2 healthiness. I guess you're building grocers in cities that you care about healthiness. Makes you less reliant on having these resources to get the happiness, or the healthiness bonus. It's good for the tall cities that you're going to be building it with for the 25% gold. It comes kind of late and it's kind of expensive for a building, but it's okay. This isn't the kind of thing that makes or breaks you. But because this country has Immortal, Persia is a very good country. Persia's very good. Okay. Portugal has a carrack. Alright. There is an application for this, but it's highly dependent on the map. If you have, so a carrack, it will give you cargo space that can hold anything. Normally a caravel can only hold scouts, explorers, missionaries, spies, and great people, which are fairly useless. Carrack can hold 2 of any kind of unit, which means settlers, soldiers, and it can go across the ocean, and it can do it way sooner than astronomy. You can get astronomy right after optics, but astronomy costs so much to research that this is pretty soon. So, if your map has a new world, or any kind of situation where you can find some new land that you can exploit, you can find a bunch of land that you can put settlers on and take it all, that is a really big advantage. If you can find, maybe if you're on continents You go and find another continent that hasn't developed, that has like weak units. You can send military units in and beat them up and take their land. That's really good. The annoying thing is that it doesn't change the fact that optics won't give you trade routes with this new land that you're getting. So these cities are going to be isolated until you get astronomy, which can make them really expensive or difficult to keep happy. So it has its trade-offs, but this is a pretty good unit. Now the Victoria is just as expensive. It unlocks with economics, which is kind of later. The difference is +1 gold to water tiles, essentially making you a financial on the water tiles. Or if you already are financial, you get even more money from it. If you have water tiles, this is good. If you don't, it's not. Customs houses, I don't normally build anyways. Because they are pretty expensive and they don't have a lot of yield to them, and they come later in the game. There's a lot of buildings that get unlocked in this time frame, you know, like just before economics you get like banks and markets and grocers, which are normally more helpful. Maybe right after this you're getting spy stuff, or you're getting observatories and universities. You have to build those. And then the customs house kind of takes a back seat. So like, this would make it a high priority building, but you're shoving aside possibly other high priority buildings. I don't think that this can make or break a game though. Unless there is a lot of islands that you can settle. If it's a map with a ton of islands, especially if they're unsettled, and you are a financial leader, then you can use this to take advantage of all those water tiles and make even more money from them. And you can try and build really, really wide with all of these cities and all the water tiles, and possibly build an economy off of water. Which can actually give a late game comeback. So it has potential. So I'll say Portugal, it has the potential to win games, but it's situational. Rome, on the other hand, so the Praetorian is going to cost a little bit more, but its strength is 8 instead of 6, and that's it. That's the difference. And I guess the other difference is you don't get a 10% city attack, but who cares when your strength has gone up to 8? Praetorian are broken. This is another one of your broken units. This will win games. Basically, if you are Rome, you rush ironworking, get iron, and destroy everyone. That's it. Rome is so good. Because these units are so strong that after a couple promotions, you know, you go and find the right nation to beat up first. You find one that has warriors and or archers, and you beat them up with your Praetorian first. That gives you enough experience to upgrade your Praetorians to get City Raider 2 or even City Raider 3, and then you get a general in your homeland and you put it in your most productive city, and then you have that one just start pumping out Praetorian with City Raider 2. And then you can even start destroying the countries with axemen. And nothing stops this until the AI get longbows or axemen behind walls. And even then, you can offset that by getting catapults. If you get catapults, you go and you start destroying everything again. This is so good because there's nothing that you can do against it. If like, yes, you can get axemen behind walls, but then if Rome gets catapults, what do you do? I guess you get a ton of longbows and just make the opportunity cost too high and Rome goes and destroys someone else, and you hope that you can catch up to them. Rome is too good. I guess the issues with this, maybe you don't have iron, and then you can just cry because you're missing out on one of the greatest things in life. Or I don't know, maybe it can take too long to get iron working. If it takes too long to get iron working, maybe everyone gets axemen, especially axemen behind walls. You don't get all the upgrades, and you can never really take advantage of the extra strength. So that can be a problem. It can take some time to get this far. Their unique building, I believe this costs the same, and it gives 25% birth rate. I don't think that's very good. Especially because markets, when they come on the scene, are extremely expensive. And it only gives a 25% boost to birth rate, which early in the game, you're gonna have like +3 for one citizen, like a priest or a scientist or something, and +6 for 2, and 25% doesn't work well with that number. If you have 25% with 3, that's still going to be 3 because of the way the rounding works. It's going to go up to 3.75 and then chop down to 3. If you have 6, it'll go to 7.5, and then chop down to 7. So this doesn't actually do much. But you do have Praetorian. I mean, I've had playthroughs with Rome where I don't even really build forums because you also have to have citizens to produce a birth rate, and maybe you don't have that because you can only have that in big cities or cities that have built wonders. So, but you have Praetorian, so. Okay, Cossack. Cossacks are the same cost, but they have 50% against mountain units. I believe that is the only difference. Yes. 50% against mountain units. This is good, but it's not great. Because what the Cossack really wants is a bonus against riflemen, because that is their check. That is what checks a Cossack, because riflemen are strength 14 and they have a 25% bonus against mounted units. So this doesn't make a Cossack able to defeat a rifleman. This makes it able to defeat cavalry. And that's it. And you're not worried about cavalry. You're worried about riflemen. So that's not very good. Research Institute, it replaces a lab. Gives you 2 free scientists, it should be really, really big, but this just comes so late in the game that the extra research you're going to get from a scientist isn't going to matter much. You know, basically, if you are neck and neck with the AI, or I guess your opponents, if you are neck and neck with your opponents, and in terms of technology, up until the late game, and then you can start building labs, then you will push ahead with technology, and you'll be able to build the space race first. You'll be able to build the rocket ship first, because you'll have the technology sooner, and then all you have to do is worry about fending off their attack. So it's very situational, but it is possible that a research institute could win you the game. I find it very unlikely. Spain. So, Conquistador replaces a Courasier. Cost is 100. Strength is still 12. Same technology and resources. Okay, but the Conquistador is... What's the difference? I know that it can fortify, and it doesn't say that. So, like, you could defend cities with this. And it gets a boost against melee units. That actually makes this okay. But you're probably going to be fighting muskets. And then longbows. And not be as concerned about the pikemen. Pikemen really aren't that good. Because they aren't that much better than longbows at defending cities. And that's why knights are so good. And this is basically just... Like, the Courasier is just slightly better than the knight. Except that it requires gunpowder. And then you have to fight the musketmen too. It doesn't really change the strategy. You know, you can still use your trebuchets and attack, and then clean up with your mounted units. This boost doesn't seem like enough to do it. But a Citadel costs just as much as a castle, but you get +5 experience for new siege weapons. And that, if you already have 5 experience with your siege weapons, for say like a barracks, theocracy, and now a citadel, that means that the trebuchets that you build can have 3 promotions, which makes them really good. So this is a pretty good buff. Is it enough to win games? Actually, yeah. Yeah, it is. Especially if you have stone. This is possibly enough to win games. Because that extra strength for attacking cities with your trebuchets could allow you to just rip holes through the enemy. Every single trebuchet you build gets all those promotions and gets really strong. And then you clean up with all your other units. So, Spain, pretty good actually. Sumeria. You replace an axeman and you get a strength of 6. Oh, but it's only 25% versus melee units. That still gives you a total strength of 7.5. So that makes you better against archers. Well, instead of an axeman rush, you can do a vulture rush. And actually becomes viable. Yeah, this is good. This is very good. You know, you get bronze working and then you rush. And as long as they don't have axemen, this is more of a guaranteed victory against those archers. So, that's pretty good. Sucks if you actually don't get copper or iron, but you know, that's the strategy that you would play if you have Sumeria. If you have Sumeria, you hope that you have copper or iron, you go for bronze working, then you build vultures, and you go and try and take some country. Now the ziggurat is a cheaper courthouse, and you can build it with only priesthood. This is really, really nice, because normally it takes a long time to try and be able to build courthouses. But being able to do it with priesthood, which is pretty cheap to get, and then you can go ahead and switch to a spy economy this early. I don't even have to get like writing to try and save my economy. I could actually, like, you could go bronze working, right? Get your vultures, and then go on the attack. And then to save your economy, you could just go straight for priesthood. Then you don't have to worry about anything else. Well, I guess you could still you still want pottery, but you know, pottery and then priesthood, then you don't have to worry about writing. Not having to worry about writing to save your economy, and then alphabet, that is such a big boost. That's a really big boost. Yeah. That is a really big boost. So, I think it'd be fun to play with Sumeria sometime. Viking. Okay. Viking. This guy replaces Maceman, costs just as much. Still copper or iron. You get a 10% city attack instead. That's helpful. You know, that's good. You also get amphibious, so no penalty. So you could like use galleys, and use your berserkers to do a rush that way. The issue is that you're probably gonna have to fight longbows. And if you're fighting longbows, then you'll have to bring trebuchets or catapults. And if you have to bring those things, then you're not going to be able to use galleys, and you're not going to be able to use, you know, like attack through river tiles. So really the only buff is this 10% city attack. Which, I mean, it's a buff. Not much of a buff, but it's a buff. Trading post as opposed to a lighthouse. Navigation 1 promotion for units built in the city. +1 movement range. Great, so your galleys can move fast. And I guess your triremes get to move fast. Is that good? If you actually get to do the Berserker Rush, that is good. The problem is I think that you'll have to be fighting longbows. And I don't think it'll work. So I don't think this is very good. Yeah, I don't think that's buffed enough. Okay, the Zulu. An Impy still requires copper or iron. But you start with mobility and you have a movement of 2. -1 terrain movement cost. So you can try to rush people that only have warriors, but you still have to get bronze working. I think that's bad. That's bad. I'm sorry. That's bad. Yeah, I don't see how that's good. Well, I see how it's good. Okay, if you only have to worry about killing warriors, like, great. Now you can rush. And you don't need, like, useless chariots. And it doesn't matter if they have chariots. But it matters if they have archers. You can't beat those. Ikanda is your unique building. Minus 20 maintenance. And it costs more? Oh. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. I like to see a barracks being cheap. But for minus 20 maintenance, that's pretty good. The issue is that it's a separate building, so you're gonna have to build these everywhere. And sometimes, you know, you don't need to build a barracks everywhere. Sometimes I'll skip, actually not, more than sometimes, I will skip barracks. So that's annoying, but I mean, they still don't cost a lot. I think it definitely makes it worth justifying in all your cities. This isn't game breaking or anything. So, there you go. That's all the countries. We did it. Wow, amazing. Well, that was a lot of countries. Tell me what you think about them, and if you've played with all of them, or if you want to see me play with any of the specific ones.